So right around the time where you're starting to become used to the extra amount of traffic, the large sums of people that you don't know, and the odd vehicular behavior of these people that are involved in this program, it literally will be right around the time they have it perfectly timed to where you can start to ease into it and accept a little bit more of it. You lose the fear of it, and you start to, work your way into like a normal life again. And any target that gets to this point is, they should consider themselves lucky, but also they should also consider the fact that that means the worst is still yet to come. And in any system like this, it always helps to have a head up or extra knowledge from somebody else who can help you deal with it and hopefully minimize or completely expund any of the causes of the technology for harm to you. So again, right around the time where you become okay with the fact that you know these people are going to be there, you don't know really why they're there, you don't at this point have any kind of idea at all. Like, there's just no idea. You may have pissed this person off or that person off, or you may have had a problem at your local VFW, but none of that can be proven to be the reason for these people in your life. Let's just not jump to conclusions and just go ahead and say that we don't know why we're being harassed, or we don't know why we're under surveillance, even though we know it's not surveillance. You have to use that term because finally, citizens, normal citizens that complain about it are not ostracized, but it has to be specifically surveillance. You can't say I'm being stalked or gang stalked. You cannot say I'm being harassed. You can say I don't know why I'm under surveillance, and that will eliminate any police intervention, pink slipping, things like that, because it is now an acceptable, very verifiable concern for all citizens that to be under surveillance is a part of our new way of life. However, is it legal or not is the key, and that's what we still have the ability to fight illegal surveillance, which maybe in 10 years we won't even have that right yet left in our arsenal of citizen rights, human rights, because in 10 years from now you may complain to an officer that you're under surveillance, and they may say to you, so what, everybody is. Now we still have the ability to say I'm under surveillance, and them to say, well, why do you think you're under surveillance, and what is the purpose of it? And you can give them a logical explanation now. And that's what gang stalking victims should do, is simply say to the officer, I'm under surveillance, I don't know why, I've been told by a third party that I possibly may be, and I'm trying to verify it. That will exclude you from ever having to worry about being committed. Now, back to the technology as a diverted. As soon as you become a new gang stalking victim, maybe a year in or 2 years, you're strong enough to overcome it. You deal with it, and you're like, I really don't know any of these people. I've never even seen these people. And the other thing about these people is I don't, nor would I ever want to know these people. These are not my kind of people. Most targets will start to notice that. These aren't the people we've chosen in our lives to hang out with or to make friends with. We have not chose the way they look, the way they act, their unbelievable awkward demeanors, and their mean ways would it would immediately exclude them from being anybody we would consider a potential friend. So knowing these things, you become acceptant with the fact that, you know what, these people are really just nerdy, very unattractive people, and they really are very odd and ugly and nobody that you want in your life. Realize that they're not going behind you everywhere you go and talking to the people right after you talk to them and saying, oh, that person is this or that. They don't do any of that. That is done on different levels, and that is done through the psychological departments of these of this program. It's done through their psychological people and their social workers. They have an army of social workers out on the road every day to intervene if necessary. Guys, I can't express how important that is. I know this is a fact. The Air Force mainly is the one that is covertly using American taxpayer dollars to hire an army of social workers, and they are using them in this program. These social workers are in every community, every town. They are using, in their own words, they're trying to use, minority. They're using minority people. They want to hire minority people for these positions, and they're unleashing them all over the country. These Air Force social workers have a status or a title, and it is social worker. So what they can do is unlimited. It's a genre of complete unregulated abuse, or it can be helpful if they decide to use it in a helpful manner, but they're not. They're using it to abuse and to get people mentally committed for absolutely no reason. The mental health industry is the prime injector of financial help for these systems, and the pharmaceutical and as well as the medical communities that are finally getting their way of experimenting on people without their consent. Now, it looks like so many other things before you get to the point where you're like, you go in with that basic thought that you're under surveillance, then you realize that's not the case. Then you go in with the basic thought that there's something out there in our world that I just don't understand. I don't know. So I'm not going to really worry about it anymore, because it's been affecting me for 2 years now, and it really hasn't done anything. It hasn't harmed me. All it's done is make me paranoid and make me lose things like my business or my friends. So what you do is you develop a shell, a ability to ignore them. Right around that time, that's right about the time the self-structuring nano smart dust clusters are ready to go on your body. It takes sometimes up to a year or 2 years for these things to really set in and become effective points of technology on a human body, where they can be initiated and agitated through radio frequencies to create states in people like they had during the first 2 years of their gang stalking, when they were nervous and paranoid all the time. Since that's gone away, and for about a month now the target's been feeling pretty good, those are now initiated. Those clusters are on your body, and they're mainly self-assembling. They go towards heat, and they go towards, what they do is they slowly move maybe a centimeter a week, or if that even, towards the most hot spot on your body. These things are insane, and I'm not going to get into trying to explain it, because it is something that will make you sound crazy. But what they do is, let's just give the basics. They are released through smart dust technology, which is DARPA's patented technology for censoring a person or censoring a thing or item, and then turning it into a GPS trackable unit. They will go towards the hottest spot on a person's body. Once enough of that dust structures together in that hot spot, it will fill the entire hot spot, and there will be no more room for any dust, because now there is another hot spot on your body that is hotter than the spot that has now been covered by the clusters. So now the smart dust is beginning to move to that second spot and third spot, and so on, until they have enough spots on your body, which is commonly known as about 8 spots, where these things are structuring into your system, and they have covered those areas. Those are normally the points of vital signs, where the vital signs are read, like your heart rate or your eye movements, or because it could go to some kind of part on your brain or your optic nerve where it is readable for them. based on what they're getting on the feedback loop. This is all, again, when people say that it is psychotronics, or it's something called, the word eludes me right now, but it has to do with feedback. It's all about feedback for these people, psychotronics. And that is what the DARPA Smart Dust does, is it gives them that feedback they need to monitor a person's entire existence and biological systems from a remote location. Basically, at that point, they begin the radio control of a human being. Now what happens is those devices that are on your body, and I do call them devices because they now emit signals. They have gotten strong enough to the point where they're covering those locations on your body that need to be read. From handheld quality technology, they can use these handheld devices now to initiate those little things on your body, those clusters. They can either agitate them, or they can read them, or they can overheat them, and they can also send signals to them, which will cause you to create that state you were in right when you were starting to realize you were being stalked and harassed by people. That immediate initial state of paranoia can now be triggered again and to the target remotely. So how evil is it? Well, after you as a good person have recovered from this horrible trauma, or starting to, they just bring it back again. But they bring it back again through radio controlled, remotely initiated frequencies that are injected to these locations on your body, which create the actual state or feeling that you had when you were just starting to get gang stalked. So you're there again now. You're paranoid again, and you're scared, and you don't know why. So what do you do at that point? Well, if you're like me, you go years and years of having to deal with that exact feeling of horror that you had in the beginning. And then you start like trying to electronically countermeasure it, buying devices, wearing things, all those things. Some of them work. Some of them work really well. A lot of them eliminate it altogether. Certain jammers will eliminate those sensors. What do you do? Another good thing to do is to use sodium bicarbonate or baking soda, to take baths in that, and to also just let that stuff soak into your body and let that stuff get, working on them, because it does kind of loosen those clusters up a little bit. You can also do another thing, and this I don't recommend because this is what I did, and I have had positive results from it, but I also I'm going to tell you it was very painful, and I don't know yet if it was worth it, because I'm still in the data collection stage of this thing that I did. What I did is I used a little box cutter, and I just started scraping my skin every day, just real lightly scraping the surface layers of my skin off where I believed that these things were. And so far I've dug 4 of them out, and I've got them out of my body, but they go deep into your body, guys. They literally will go down into parts of your body where they're almost connected to your insides. I'm not even really 100% sure if they go further or not. All I know is I've scraped about 4 of them off now. They no longer are hurting me in those spots. The one I'm working on right now is in my chest. It's right on the right hand side of my body, on my chest, on the opposite side of my heart, and it's the biggest one I have. I've scraped off the surface of it, and now I'm at the second layer, and it goes into like it looks like a Band-Aid, like those small circle Band-Aids you put on your thumb, where in the middle you see the white part cushion that sops up the blood, and then there's the circle plastic around it. That's what this thing looks like down in my skin. It's got a black brownish cluster, and then around it it's hardened like a it looks like plastic. So I'm at that one now, and I've been digging at that one for 2 weeks, and it just now is beginning to dissipate the signal that I get to my chest when I'm in a relaxed state, they send a signal to that one. I guess this has been the one that has done the most damage, because this is the one that's keeping you up at night. They send a signal to it, and it just instantly wakes you up. It'll inject this absolute horrible feeling into your chest, which initiates your heart to start beating fast and all your blood to flow, and it wakes you up. So I believe that maybe this is the one that does that. I don't know for a fact. Like I said, I'm in the process now of digging it out. The ones that I've dug out so far were in my hand, in my forehead, and in the right hand side of my leg, right above my knee, and another one was in my nose. The ones that I've dug out, they just fall apart. You can't have any verifiable evidence because they just kind of dust up and fall apart. I've dug them out, and that's enough. They're no longer omitting signals that I can feel, and I'm not being initiated with pain in those spots. Everywhere else they have them, I am still being initiated with pain, and the pain is becoming very focused on those areas. So I plan on digging every single one of them out that I'm feeling pain in that area. I dig them out. I don't recommend that yet. In a year from now, when I've done this and I've got more data, I would really like to share that with this suffering community. But right now, I don't have the ability to give you what you need, and that is a yes or no, this is going to help or not. But I assure you, and this is for all targeted individuals of this program, I assure you, I promise you this, I am trying and I am working on it, and I believe I'm going in the right direction on aiding the feeling of pain for us. That's all. I'm not really looking to stop my gang stalking. I know that that's out of my control. I'm not going to be able to do that right now. I'm not really looking to stop any of the other things that go along with this, because I don't think I can right now, and it's out of my control, so I let it go. The stuff that is on my person and on my body that I did not give consent to, I do have the ability to at least try to alter that or get it out of me, and that's what I'm doing right now. Like I